RockMine is jumping on a plane and heading to Italy. Why? Because we want to pick up some Italian vinyl. Right now there's pictures of picture sleeves in my head because you know Italy's got the coolest 45 picture sleeves, right? They don't mess around. And they got double-sided jukebox 45s with some of the oddest combinations I've ever seen. They're really big. They're hard to get over here in the States. And for us jukebox owners, they're liquid gold because you're always looking for a twofer. I've contacted a couple places in Rome. I've got a buddy in Pescara who's going to tell me some wild stories, I'm sure. And we're going to go up to Florence. And I have some high-end vinyl players up there that we're going to hit also. So we're taking off. We're leaving Chicago in the wind, in the rain behind, and we're heading for Italy. Wish me luck. On the plane, they had this cool little short called One Up. It was about a kid that inherited his dad's record collection. So I was enjoying that and enjoying the flight. Out of the rainy, wet weather and hitting the blue sky already. Good for the soul. All right, we're landing in Rome, and no, it wasn't that quick of a flight, but we did pick up a tailwind and cut it from about 10 hours to 9. So I noticed on the in-flight movies, they had that 4-part HBO series called Soulville. So I'm making a mental note, and I'm going to watch that on the way back. I didn't catch it till the very end, but here we are. One thing they'll always tell you about Rome is the traffic. And sure enough, we're seeing cars, motorcycles, scooters. What we're not seeing is any more SUVs or Ford F-150s. We're even looking at these old Roman aqueducts. The old aqueducts. It's incredible. All right, we're getting close to our hotel, and it's by the Coliseum. And if you think of it back in the day, this is their version of rock concerts. But instead of hearing, I don't think I ever saw anybody die at a rock concert. I take that back. Alice Cooper. So there it is, where the gladiators fought to the death. And Romans were entertained by it, so it must have worked. All right, our hotel is not only by the Coliseum, it's by the train station. And it's a bustling part of town. And we're getting in about 9 in the morning because it's sort of a red-eye flight. You leave in the afternoon or evening from Chicago, and you arrive in the morning. So wife and I stayed at the Best Western Plus, and I tell you what, I would go there again. The accommodations are great. I think it was only 3-star. It's always a little hectic getting your bags out and getting the guy paid. But first thing you want to do is check into the hotel.
Grazie. Bye-bye.
As we arrive at the Coliseum, I can't help but think of seeing The Who at the Silverdome in '79, 5 days after 5 concert goers were trampled to death in Cincinnati. This is a massive structure, and I can just imagine 2,000 years ago it being packed to the gills with fans cheering on their favorite gladiators who were fighting to the death. So this is it, man. You go to Rome, you got to see the Colosseum. It was packed. There was lines forming even as we were approaching this massive structure. All right, here we are in Italy. I'm looking for a record store. I called ahead. Actually, I didn't even call ahead. I went on Discogs and put an order in. And I just emailed the guy. He said, hey, can I pick up my order in person? He said, yeah. So let's see what we got going. It's called Radiation Records. And look at this place. It says, come on in, we're open. Got some old soul there in Italian. And there we go. So I'm gonna go in and check it out.
I'll wait for you.
Oh, you come in with me. Oh, it's locked. Can you believe it? Oh, it's open. It's open. Yeah, that's cool. So here we are. All right, cool. I'm gonna have to flip through those before I leave. Very cool. Nice little shop. Buongiorno, Detroit Bob. I put an online order, Discogs,
Yeah, I'm.
with 2 records. And I said I will come pick them up in person. Bob Dylan, 7-inch, Bob Dylan.
I have to ask because no one told me that.
Okay.
So, just a second. Your name, sorry?
All right, they don't have it, of course. I had a Dylan. Yeah, I'm gonna take a quick look in these better ones. I sent a message. So that's a good picture sleeve. Picked that up in Italy. That's a $3 record. Back home, you can't even find it. So one thing I'm looking for when I go to Italy is picture sleeves. And they do it pretty well. I'll pass on the... So if I get out of here with 5 picture sleeves, I'll be doing very good. And don't forget, we got Jukebox Day. I call it Jukebox, a record store day. And that's coming up Saturday. Kate Bush is really hot right now. I'm not really into her though, but I know she got really... That's a great record right there. By the Psychedelic Furs. So pick that up. Pearl Jam for 12 bucks. Which one is it? Probably pass on that. So Live. I'm not a big Pearl Jam fan. Through Being Cool by Devo. God, is that a cool looking record. And I'm just gonna have to freestyle it here, just going by what I know. Depeche Mode. Or Sade. Atomic City, I've got that actually. Thompson Twins. Who's That Girl by Montana. Grab my sunglasses before I lose those. So I probably should have confirmed the address. Reggae, reggae, reggae. I'm looking for some Bob Marley. U-Roy, I've heard of him. What's this? Punk hardcore. You never know what you're gonna get. Nothing jumping out at me that looks like Pixies. This stuff's pretty lame. Let's just go to the soul. We don't want Italian. Otis Redding. It's a nice looking record. Ken Curtis, Jump Back. Get some good soul out of here, I'll be happy. Ken Curtis, he's a hell of a saxophone player. Groove Me. Otis Redding. Attack of the Beekeeper. Almost looks like a bootleg, but I'll check it out. Getting there. Hopefully up in Florence they'll definitely have a better customer service. It's their little soul section. She says the better ones. The real thing. Getting in some, definitely some Italian stuff. So I'm looking for good old Northern soul, American soul, Motown. Motorcycles. Wow. Mr. Phillips. Suits are in here pretty tight too. The left arm's getting a workout. Our blue heaven. Polyhankum. Ross. Good size. How's I got that on a picture sleeve? Zodiac share, that's actually a pretty cool record. I might get one. Well, let's see what we got here. Got an Otis Redding picture sleeve, King Curtis picture sleeve, Sonny and Cher picture sleeve. I don't know if that's Italian or not. Holland. Check it out. I don't know. Let's see what they got down here real quick. We got an MC5 over there. Just, yeah. Excuse me. Even in Italy, you have the MC5. These guys are from my hometown. They're good. 25 bucks. That's not bad. And maybe tomorrow. What time you open? 11?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe tomorrow I'll come back. Okay. I think I'll check out. Yeah, is that Italian?
Italian press, I mean.
Okay.
You mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
No, it's a German.
German, it's okay. Holland. Is that American? I think it is. Some of these it's hard to tell. That looks like a
think so. Yeah,
American
City,
reissue.
yeah.
Okay, I don't want that one. No, that's Italian, right?
See. Yes.
Also Italian?
See?
Buenos Aires.
Yeah, Italian. Distribuzione.
Okay, I'll take all these.
It's no.
South
Buenos
America.
Aires is
South
the
America.
street.
Oh, the
No,
street.
no,
Okay.
it's the street. It's in Milan.
Italian. Milan.
Italian.
Okay. The Dylan and a soul record. Really?
They don't have them here.
Not at this location.
But they sell them.
Well, I didn't communicate clearly with the guy. They have three locations? Okay. They have 3 locations. Oh, you're doing record store day,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in Pescara.
Okay.
Alright. Yeah. Give me some footage over my shoulder.
Is it recording now?
Yeah.
You need a pen?
Yeah, you got a piece of paper? That's for your boss. We have a YouTube page for the record stores. I go to record stores, I buy records, and I'll put you in it.
Okay.
We have 500,000 viewers. Good advertising. Look at that. You get a nice drink, you get a little mini pizza, you get some chips, and a beautiful woman across from you. Now this is what happens when you mix up a pint and a liter. So, liter's not bad. It's Peroni on tap. Good way to refresh after spending some day hopping around looking for vinyl. Alright, we got people everywhere. We're going down to this fountain that Michael recommended. Of course, I paid for his trip back in 2010, and I've never been to Rome, but my kid has. So here you go. This is what I'm talking about, a bespoke suit. You don't get tailors like this in Chicago anymore. Italians know how to do their fine clothing. I feel like this was the type of place Charlie Watts would have shopped for a suit. I love the tourist attractions, but it's places like that in between and on the way to I like better. Very famous fountain right here we found out from our son Michael. And what's the name of it, hon?
T-R-E-D-I.
Wow.
Here.
Beautiful. And then you got the crowds. It's a kick-ass car. Look at this thing right here. The people just hanging out. We're gonna take a little picnic basket there. This is Italy, man. I mean, it's crowded. There's beautiful people. There's beautiful shops. There's beautiful desserts. There's everything, and people from all over the world. So you ain't doing no vinyl shopping down here, but you're spending a lot of money, that's for sure. Need cheese? That's where you go. Palm trees in Rome. There you go, right outside the National Art Gallery. What a beautiful building and beautiful gardens. Going good, and we found this little cocktail bar, and it's called Opera Art, but what I'm loving is this guy. And when you can hear Don't You Forget About Me in Italy, somewhat comforting, bringing you back to the 80s. The wife is liking it. Pretty cool, neon. Okay, this is a Moretti. It's a beer. It's an Italian beer. Guy talked me into it. I'm sort of excited about it. All right, we're heading to the train station over to Pescara. So we got Record Store Day and our good friend Rob and Robbie. So that's cool. The key with these trains is finding your platform and getting on. It's that simple. That is, unless your train gets canceled. All right, we finally made it out of Rome. Couple schedule changes, but we're on our way to a town called Pescara. So there you go. And we're rolling out of Carasoli on our way to Pescara. Been a hell of a day, but I tell you what, the train's moving, and we got a frat brother meeting us for dinner. And hopefully I'll make it to the Record Store Day. We'll see. We made it to Tagliacozzi, which is in the middle of Italy. So I'm just happy to make progress. really planning on skiing, but you never know. Going by some mountains in the middle of Italy, you can tell there's still snow up on top of them. So there you go. Ah, Italy. Beautiful town. Didn't wake up in time for first call on record store day, but the day is young. I was looking at that record store day lineup. The only thing I saw that would be collectible would be Taylor Swift. I did not say playable, I said collectible. But we'll see. Downtown Pescara, and we're walking right towards the sea. You can smell the sea air, and also all the sounds and the sights and the people out walking around. And I'll tell you what, some kind of a breakfast thing is cooking. That sounds incredible. Smells incredible, I mean. Next, my frat bro Rob with tall tales of everybody from Nirvana to Queen to the Ramones.
Backstage pass and to a concert.
Oh, wow.
And a dedication from Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Holy cow. Now, how did you come across that, Rob?
Because I got to meet him on more than one occasion. And he ended up telling his manager, just send them tickets every time we're into town. And so I got to see him over about 20 times.
Now, was that when you were living in Davenport, Iowa?
No, I was back in New York back then.
Wow. That's incredible.
And so...
Did you do security for him at first?
No, I never really worked for SRV.
Okay.
But got to enjoy quite a few of his concerts. And so I had the...
What was he like as a person?
Real quiet.
Yeah.
On pretty much a person that was... he'd keep to his own.
Right.
But if you got him into a conversation, sat him down, really nice guy. Really nice guy.
What impressed you about the way he looked, his physical appearance?
I look at it more as a musical talent.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Was he a big guy, a little guy?
No, a really small guy.
Yeah.
Incredibly powerful forearms and hands.
Oh, I can imagine.
You went to shake his hand, it was just like shaking, someone that would chop down trees, the same thing. I mean,
wow.
Really strong hands and arms.
So there you have it, everybody. We're in Italy, and we got to hear Rob's Stevie Ray Vaughan story. Beautiful town. We're heading towards the beach. We may get to see that memorabilia. Maybe not, but what a great story. Thanks for sharing that, Rob.
Anytime.
All right.
Live Stevie Ray Vaughan.
That is incredible.
And so I was going to show you that kind of stuff.
And when I was in Davenport, of course, Stevie Ray Vaughan played right on the Mississippi River. And I went to the frat and said, come on, we're going. And about a dozen of us went. And it wasn't too long after, Rob, that he died in that helicopter crash.
Well, see, the first 3 or 4 times, I was just someone that was invited backstage.
Got it.
And then after that, we had a conversation one night, and we actually sat down with a beer in our hand and, talked.
Right.
And, all right, the first 3 times he couldn't remember my name. By the fourth or fifth, he was calling me Rob.
Right.
So he knew who I was after a while.
Well, you got that kind of personality where you don't know a stranger.
Right.
And you're easy to warm up to.
Yeah.
So,
Plus, I'm someone that you look at me and you remember.
Yeah. You got the physical
whether it's
style.
a physical attribute or a characteristic or.
Is this too much walking for you?
I'm pretty good so far.
Okay, but
I have a musical fountain here.
That's cool.
We sat down and we were, over a beer and we were talking about it. And he goes, "What do you like about my concerts?" And I said, "To tell you the truth, I've never seen anyone play Hendrix like you." And he smiled back at me. He goes, I was actually thinking about doing a Hendrix concert all Hendrix music.
Oh, wow.
And I said, if you do that, I want to be there.
Oh, wow.
And then 2 months later, he died in the Alpine crash.
Oh, my God.
Alpine Valley
Yep,
crash.
yep. Rob's our fraternity brother from Queens. He's a big guy with a big heart. And I'll tell you what, he's lived a big life too. He'll tell you stories all day long. A music lover, but more. He did security for Nirvana. He went to shows at Rockaway Beach and saw the Ramones and the whole punk scene developing then. He's been to concerts in Milan, all over Italy. U2. Great host, and he really showed us the town. And I'll tell you what, Pescara was a great little seaside respite from the busy streets of Rome. We had great Italian by night, and during the day we hit the fish. And I'll tell you what, man, I put on 5 pounds real quick over there in Italy. But Pescara was a nice getaway on a quiet seaside Adriatic part of Italy that I would have never have gone to if it wasn't for a guy like Rob. Rob and Robbie's hospitality and entertainment made it all worthwhile. So much so we want to go back to Pescara next year. Goodbye to Pescara, and we're going to take one of these bad boys all the way up to Florence. I've already got a hold of a record shop, and they're going to be saving some records for me. So let's give it a try. Cool about these trains is they have a whole service card. This is awesome. Yeah. And the cap pour moi. Let's see, a souvenir. All right, back with Detroit Bob. Next up is Radiation Records. Now, I tried an experiment that I was going to order all my stuff on Discogs, and it would just be waiting for me when I got over there. And it was. But Radiation Records has 3 different locations. So, and I showed up at the wrong one. So this is what I ended up getting just on the fly. Now remember, I was in Italy, so I'm either going for Italy has a lot of these jukebox 45s. And I say jukebox, but I don't pronounce the K. Jukebox, all one word. Jukebox. Okay, look up the history of that word. It's fascinating. Juke joints. It's basically a derivation of basically a roadside pub bar / establishment in the deep South that people went and jammed and listened to records off of the box, which was a jukebox. So let's not digress too much. Radiation Records, and let's see what we got in our bag of tricks. So Radiation Records up next. First of all, I noticed they participated in Record Store Day, so that was cool. So I got that little, and these are all over the place, downloadable probably by Record Store Day, but it didn't make it back. But their record store was the same day in the UK as it was here in the US, so I missed it, but I was just happy to get in there. Before we get into the records, we'll give them a little promo here. So this was their card. Italy's unique, there's no like standard business card. The graphics in the design aspects are from everything from the fork on your table up to your hotel room is out of the world. Italian designers have got to be the best. So that's what their thing looks like. And here's their other 2 locations. And I was supposed to be here, but I was at the main one. So Radiation Records, that's pretty cool. Let's see what we got. Okay, first up from Radiation Records, you gotta love In Excess, right? And that's really my wheelhouse, is 70s and 80s. So I remember In Excess was always trying to break through, and I heard that first album and a couple of the cuts off of it, and I was like, yeah, I like this. And then I sent a message, really came out. And this is sort of like a brown paper bag label, but you got the band up there, so the graphics are sort of cool there on the band on the upper right. And that's what they looked like at the time. Michael Hutchence, I believe, was the lead singer. I think he spent a year going to high school in LA, and then came back to Australia and, you know, started this band. So he was probably exposed to a little bit to the LA punk scene in the 70s. Maybe heard some stuff that he wouldn't have heard, but he goes back and is the Ferris brothers, is that them? 3 of them were in the band. Hutchinson in the lead, and the one guy you could tell he was just the main dude, but I'm quite sure that's Michael Hutchins right there. And you got some lyrics there. You know, it looks like a shipping. Let's see what it looks like on the inside. Now you can tell the German, Italian label is just totally different. So if there's any doubt, this label is like seamlessly in the plastic. It's not even, there's a name for it, I forget what they call it. But Gemma, you'll see these on these foreign releases. I send a message, then you get down into some of the nitty gritty. 1984, okay? Germany, yeah. So I was right. This made in Germany, okay? It could have been sold in Italy, right? It doesn't say anything about Italia. So it helps if you know your country's names, and Italy is not Italy, it's Italia. But made in West Germany, interesting, it's in English. Now in the dead wax, you can see all this stuff. It's all stamped in. There's nothing scratched in the dead wax on these. These are all stamped. Very well engineered little product, you can tell. The B-side, mechanical, okay? Now, whether that was also off that album, I don't know from memory. But nice, clean. I'm gonna give it a very good plus. I paid $3 for it. So there you go. Radiation Records, $3. Now I've been struggling. Someone said a hairdryer will take these off, like on low heat. That'll probably come off just as is. So sometimes I don't like to take them off because they leave such a mark. This one's coming off real easy. But the last thing you want to do is tear your picture sleeve. And for $3, as far as the euros, I know they're more than $1. But there you go. The first one from Radiation Records, man. That's some good stuff right there. And that was their little card. That's their business card. And the girl called over to the other side. They go, oh yeah, I got. So I ended up keeping my other order from the other shop. So I have I think it's a William Bell and a Bob Dylan picture sleeve coming in the mail, and it was only like $9 for shipping from Italy. So okay, next up, what? Sonny and Cher? Are you serious? Well, I've got so many gosh darn Sonny and Cher albums that when you see one in a picture sleeve, this thing's like, okay, it's one of those picture sleeves that's got like a little seal, but it's not factory sealed. When you see something that's in a picture sleeve with Sonny and Cher, this now becomes a 1960s document, if you will, a cultural milestone. And then you got Sonny, and then you got Cher. Look at Cher, man. She's still alive. She's out there. She's on the news all the time. Sonny, of course, died in a snow ski accident. He went up to become a politician and fairly successful one. But he was a songwriter. I don't know the song offhand. Let's check out the record itself. Now, this is bizarre. This is like an Atlantic release. And everybody knows those colors, right? But a little very sparse on the actual label. This is probably the B-side, right? And you look in the fine print, and I'm pretty sure you see Italia in there. Get out my little magnifying glass. It's in there somewhere. Let's zoom in a little closer. That's what I love about 45s, is all these little details in the label. Made in Italy. right there. So if there's any doubt, okay, so let's see what the other side looks like. It's looking like a very good on condition, maybe a good plus, but little man. Okay, so there's your A side, right? So these are pretty easy to figure out. Atlantic, I bought it for the picture sleeve. And there you go, Sonny and Cher. And then on the B side, Italians don't mess around. Their design, even in this time, was very impressive. So I don't have a year anywhere. Little Man by Sonny Bodo. There he is on the writing credits. So he did write a lot of their stuff. Pretty sure he wrote Needles and Pins for the Searchers, or at least co-wrote it. Great song. And the Ramones do a great version of Needles and Pins. Now, the other label came off real good. This one probably will. So I'm going to try the hairdryer method. But I would have never bought a Sonny and Cher. But I tell you what, I just see so many of them over here in the States without any picture sleeve. And boy, oh boy, with Cher, don't you want to have a picture sleeve? And Sonny's like, it's almost like Beauty and the Beast. You know, Sonny would be the Beast. So I don't know, you know, the marketing in the U.S., they didn't do the picture sleeves. Let's see what else I got. All right, Detroit Bob, back at you. We're talking about Radiation Records because that's where I was in Italy. And next up, what did I get? Well, let's check this out. Otis Redding. And the picture sleeve looks almost a little faded. So I thought, like, is this like some kind of bootleg or something? It's got a tear in it. But how many times, you know how many Otis Redding 45s I have? No picture sleeve. Are you kidding me? It's almost like the black artists were not getting on the sleeve. And I know that is a fact because because of the black-white divide that still existed in America at this time, a lot of black artists were not put on the cover of the LPs. So, and definitely trickled down into the 45s. Let's open it up and take a look at it. In case you're not familiar with Otis Redding, you probably know the song Dock of the Bay, his most famous song. But fortunately on the plane, I was able to watch all 4 episodes of the Soulville HBO release about Stax Records. Now, great story about Otis Redding. He went down to Stax. He was a driver, and he drove up another artist, and he waited around multiple hours to the end of a session and asked if he could sing. And they rolled tape on it, and everybody was blown away. So Otis Redding, of course, died in a plane crash, and it was up to Steve Cropper, who was a member of the house band by the name of Booker T and the MGs. He was the rhythm lead guitar, and he had to put Dock of the Bay together almost overnight because the demand for a song from Otis after his passing was off the charts. Now, Stax had a relationship with Atlantic for their distribution, and it ended up sort of killing them in the end because Atlantic got sold. Let's take a look at this record. This record's in pretty good shape, man. I mean, look at that. Take a look at the label, and you can just tell, okay, Atlantic, it all looks familiar till you see that big P, okay? And you're like, let's get some better lighting on that. You know, so you see the big P, and you zero in down here. Yeah, there you go. I mean, you can tell it's Italian. This one doesn't say made in Italy. Oh, there you go. Italia. Distributed in Italia. In Italy. I don't know, it could have been pressed in the U.S. and shipped over there, but I sort of doubt it. You guys know the history of Euro records better than I do, the collectors out there. Just some other things on the label. See the Italian writing there. They seem to be very clear on their A side. What the P meant, I'm not sure. It could have been a promo. Okay. Let's zoom out. Let's look at the B side. So it's actually the B side. Once again, I got that at Radiation Records, just right there in the rack, right up front by the front door. I didn't have to dig for it. Keep your arms around me. All right. So anything there? McClinton is the writer. Nothing different. And let's go back. The back side of the picture sleeve is even better. So I'm going to give the record itself a very good mate. It's not quite a very good plus. And the sleeve is torn, but that can probably be repaired. I don't know how valuable this record is, and it may not be super valuable, but I just like it for the visual, man. I mean, the visual on Otis, and if you see any of the footage, especially, just watch Soulville, he was so emotional, and he would just put his whole heart and soul into his singing. But Dock of the Bay, right there, Italian copy. Let's look at the next one. Back from Italy, Detroit Bob, Radiation Records. The next one, look at that picture sleeve. I mean, you just got to get really mad that they slap these stickers on these things. That's a piece of work right there. It almost look like African motif, but with a little bit of 60s psychedelia. That's probably the shape of a woman's body. I don't know. The back. It's just very, very cool. You didn't get this. You got King Curtis. Now, he was the saxophone guy. Help me out here. I know he's got a fairly good version of A Whole Lot of Love by Led Zeppelin on sax. So this one's called Jump Back, but I'm just buying it at this point just for this incredible picture sleeve. When Something Is Wrong with My Baby, didn't Sam and Dave do that? So I think so. So look at that. So he's going to do the sax version of these. And let's see what the label looks like. Radiation Records is the name of the shop. They got 3 locations. Now there's a seam split. No, it's not a seam split. Once again, this record got played a lot, but it's still in decent shape. Let's zoom in a little bit on that label. Jump Back. Rufus Thomas, man. So he's a big Stax guy, right? Walking the Dog. So for all we know, this was recorded down at Stax and distributed by Atlantic, which happens with a lot of these artists. King Curtis, right there. And I know he was a big sax fan. I'm not familiar with his deep catalog, but look at that. What a great looking label. Now, once again, so they wrote their name on it, right? And not so much the A side, but you got to sort of know from the cover that would be the A side, I would guess. And then backed with Something's Wrong with My Baby. Now, I didn't realize, but that's a Porter Hayes. David Porter and Isaac Hayes. Oh, Isaac Hayes he was writing stuff for Sam and Dave with David Porter. So they were writing the stuff. Before Isaac Hayes did Shaft and all that, David Porter and Isaac Hayes. And this is all spelled out in that Soulville documentary on HBO. It's a 4-part series. You got to write. There's a book, too, that goes with it that I read before I saw the series. But look at that. You can't really see. You might see a lot of wear on these grooves. I'm going to give it a very good. But the picture sleeve is just incredible. Let's see what else we've got. Detroit Bob, Radiation Records is where I got this last little cash from. And I didn't get a lot, like 4 or 5 records. That's about it. But not to be outdone, the Psychedelic Furs and All That Money Wants. That's a later release. And great artwork. Okay. $7, probably, $3 record. I didn't care at this point. And sort of the stripped down version of the band where they have 3-piece at this point. I don't remember. I remember the song. It's a great sort of a haunting, typical. Let's take a look at the record. The record is in almost near mint shape. Take a look at that, and as you can see, there's look at the label, and just a little bit different printing. And if it all comes down to it, you got to look here in this area and in the dead wax, which I will. When I enter this into Discogs, I will enter it into Discogs. And later, 1988, I remember when this came out, and I'm like, okay, the first, they were good in like 81, that first album. I think he says stupid over 70 times with Imitation of Christ. And then 2 or 3 after that. And then they started to fade. They did Pretty in Pink, and that ended up on the movie soundtrack. But I was like, oh, this is sort of a return to form. Okay. Writing credit goes to the band. Okay. Sound recording, CBS Records. Now you got to remember, CBS was huge. So it was like CBS, and I think they were Columbia, and they bought out Stax too. And they just absorbed and pretty much put Stax out of business, which is crazy. They should have just kept the label alive. But at this point in the 80s, all the big record companies were getting consolidated and had been consolidated to a few, you know. So it was getting down to the nitty gritty. Once again, Italian on the B side, it really doesn't matter. This has got the dust all over it. It suggests there's some hair on it. It suggests that maybe this record has never even been played. So just with a dry cleaning, and if I look in the fine print, you'll find Italia in there somewhere, right? Oh, made in Holland. There you go. We're going there in the fall. So we'll be finding some more picture sleeves in Holland. I'll tell you what, it's almost like you have to go to Europe to find what would have been the picture sleeves over here. Because I think the buying patterns were so different in Europe that you would literally go to the store and buy the new single. Whereas we would go to the store and buy the new album, which we had heard on the radio, the singles already. So 1, 2, maybe 3 singles, and then the album comes out. So they would drop the single coming up on our new release, you know, the Rolling Stones. So Miss You and all that, that was out before the album. And over there, boom, new single. They're probably released on a certain day every week. I don't know. But there you go. This is a Dutch copy I picked up in Italy of the Psychedelic Furs. So that's it for right now. Did I get any freebies? Nope, she didn't have anything. She just gave me the bag, Radiation Records, and I did a deal over Discogs for my missed order. That's coming in the mail. And I did another deal with another record shop up in Florence. They're sending me some stuff. We're working out the details there. What kills you on Italian records is shipping. Do you really want to pay 35, 32 pounds just for shipping? You know, I mean, I suppose if you get enough records, but that's what kills you. So more coming. Great trip to Italy. We're going to Holland coming up. We got more northern soul digging in northern Michigan. So we're going to go up north and finish up with that. I think I'm on the letter I right now. Thanks for coming along. And we're going to talk about this place too. I got some great footage. This was right by the Pantheon, but they didn't have any 45s. But I told her I'd still give her some footage. I told her about the website. Everything for sale on Detroit Bob's RockMine, so make sure you check that out. I don't do this to make money. I just do it because I love music. But I would like to have it pay for itself. So that's my... And I'd like to get $1 million collection. I don't know. Why not? Let's do it. Sure enough, I'm trying this method. I'm trying this method with the hairdryer, and it seems to be working. I've got one corner up. Let's see if I can get it off. It definitely softened it up. And I'm getting a nice clean pull. And I'm not pulling up the picture sleeve. That's the key right there. As you can see, it's coming off pretty clean. Eureka. All right, so there it is, King Curtis picture sleeve. I used the hairdryer method and I was able to get the little sticker off there. But what a great looking picture sleeve. It's got jump back with when something is wrong with my baby. It looks sort of like a Fillmore poster with a great photograph of the artist himself with the saxophone, and sort of the color with the African motif on either side. Pretty much the same thing on the back side. Great artwork, and that's what I really wanted out of Italy. Now, when I go back next year, I'm gonna do my homework a little bit more and come home with some more stuff like this. Still waiting on the Dylan, and I'm still waiting on the other Stax artist, William Bell. And those both had great picture sleeves. And we got Florence coming up because we're gonna do a part 2 of Italy with Florence, and then I made it back to Rome to a couple other record stores. So there you go. Italy is a great place. It was a great country to visit, and it had some great vinyl, and I just barely scratched the surface. So stay tuned. Next week we'll do part 2 of Italy, and I'm heading to RPM up north to get some more Northern Soul tomorrow. So Detroit Bob, it's been good seeing you, and check out RockMine every Friday at noon.